In this new world video, we'll be taking a look at some dexterity items that's good for a fresh level 60. First, I'll go over some of the armor and jewelry things, and then I'll go over some good weapons. For example, the bow, the spear, the rapier, the musket, and so forth. So let's take a look at some of the dexterity drops for amulets. The first one is Tear of Asset. So this one comes with Dexterity, Refreshing Evasion, Health Divine. Pretty good, especially the Health and Divine. For arenas, this is probably based in slot or pretty close, except for maybe you want to switch out the Refreshing Evasion, but maybe not even. Let's see where this drops. I'm pretty sure this is the new one with Brimstone Sands. Let's see, this is the Enya dungeon, I believe. Let's just take a look. So when we salvage it, it's definitely the Enya dungeon. So it's the new dungeon with Brimstone Sand. So if you want this, you're probably going to have to run it. Just got it my first run. So as you can see, you will have to run the dungeon. But good luck with that. It can be one of the most difficult dungeons to run, but definitely worth it if you pick this up. Let's go to the next one. It's the Champion's Amulet. Obviously, I am going to include this, since as a dexterity player you don't want con, but the perks on this is so good you probably can run 50 con, so just look out for this one. It does come with the PvP track, so you have health, stamina recovery, and shirking and power. Really good perks all together, based in slot in my books, but you can decide for yourself. So let's move on to the next one, an earring invoked by her 2 lands. Pretty good. Dexterity, Refreshing Toast, Refreshing and Regenerating. For a long time, dexterity players didn't have a good earring. For example, bruisers get Doom's Chance, and I guess the dexterity players get this one. Where does it drop? Let's take a look. Pretty sure it came with Brimstone Sands, so pretty close to Shattered Mountain, but it does drop in Brimstone Sand. Just need to go to the wall, I guess, and farm this boss over and over again until you get it. Moving on to the next one is another earring, which is really good. Probably based in slot for wars or more suited towards wars. Since you want the Purifying Toast, the Refreshing Toast, always a must. Those 2 perks are really good at the moment. And if I was in a war, I would definitely farm this if I had some dexterity on my build. Reflected Mayhem. Let's see where this drops. Just a quick one. This is an older drop. It is in Eden Grove. Entropy. What does this drop? Drops a lot of things, so good luck with farming it. But if you get this, you probably will never have to replace your earring ever again. So go farm this in Eden Grove. Hopefully you can get it quite easily. Moving on to some rings. Heart of Dalo, or I hope I said it right, but this one comes with thrust damage, refreshing evasion, and hearty. I think hearty is a pretty good perk for dexterity. Most dexterity players are in light, so it's definitely a must. So all my rings have hearty on them that I chose, so just look out for this. Let's see where it drops so that we can gather it. So let's see. Also Brimstone Sands, of course, a lot of good loot in Brimstone. Brimstone Sands at the very top here. You can go farm this. So pretty good. Another one, an older one, is the Featherweight Ring. I'm pretty sure you are aware of this if you're a dexterity player, but it comes with hearty, keen awareness, and refreshing. And this drops from a dungeon, I believe. Yes, it drops from Lazarus. You can find the Lazarus dungeon in Reekwater. So just go run the dungeon if you need something like this and you don't want the other ring. Let's move on to another ring, the Champion's Ring. Of course, I'm gonna include this one just so that you're aware of it. You can find this on the PvP reward track. For New World, this comes with hearty, keen awareness, and of course based in slot perk, invigorated punishment. I would probably go with this instead of the Featherweight Ring if I had to choose, but you will have to grind PvP a little bit for this one. Now let's move on to some armor pieces that has resilient on them that you can farm for free. You don't have to buy anything, and it will be legendary if you upgrade it with some shards. So all of them will drop in 590 of course, but if you upgrade them, you will get Dexterity, Vigor, Resilient, and Physical Aversion. Where does this drop? Let's take a quick look. This also drops in Brimstone Sands, just below the city, I believe. Or it looks pretty close to it. There's the city. Let's just move down. It's probably a crocodile, I'm not sure. Anyway, pretty good. There's a lot of things that drop there from it as well, like a great axe. But we're mainly here for the chest piece. So let's move on to another one. I think I've got this one in a box just now while running for trophies. This medium piece, maybe you can make it fit into your build if you run a light chest. But it has Dexterity, some Constitution, Physical Aversion, Refreshing Evasion, and Resilient. Pretty good. You will have to gather it from chest. Just do some trophy runs and some golden scarab runs. Eventually you will find this. I just actually found this from a trophy box, not even a golden scarab box. So you will have to run in Brimstone and loot some trophy boxes, which is usually the bigger ones, the grave offerings. They will respawn every hour, so you should be able to farm this quite easily. It's just like farming a boss. Just open the box every hour and you should be good to go. Next one is a chest or a headpiece, a light. This one comes with Dexterity, Resilient, Refreshing Evasion, and Invigorated. A lot of refreshing evasion pieces on these dex pieces. Let's see where this drops. This comes from Tempest Heart Dungeon. This is the dungeon in Shattered Mountain. So if you want this, maybe get a group together or just randoms. Hopefully you can get this from the dungeon. Crewman Rouge is the boss that you want to farm or look out for when you do the dungeon. Let's move on to some pants. We already know about this pants. Well, it's pretty common these days. It's a regular pants. A lot of people farm them. Refreshing, Cherky Fortification, Resilient. Pretty good. And basically based in slot. Maybe you want freedom instead of a refreshing. But you can farm this from Heka off the crossroads in Brimstone Sands. So at daytime it will be here at the bottom, and at nighttime it will spawn in an acid pool or close to it, and you can farm it right there. If you're not interested in it and you probably play musket and you want some intelligence as well as some dexterity, then this Hellish leggings will probably best in slot for you. Well, not really vigor, but resilient, checking fortification. If you want to run no con on your gear, pretty good. So let's see where you can farm this. There's a couple of places, but let's just choose the highest level mob, since it will probably drop in 590. Brimstone Sand. And it's right here. Probably not the worst. You can also get an Ancient Globe of Ectoplasm while farming this mob. And a Void Gauntlet, which is keen. Not the best Void Gauntlet, but the Ancient Globe of Ectoplasm for extra income while farming it. Pretty good. So definitely look out for this boss and its things. Another leg piece that actually have dexterity this time, which is pretty good. Love leggings. Hopefully I said it right, but let's just take a look. Dexterity, Resilient, Physical Aversion, and Invigorated. This one also comes from looting trophies in Brimstone Sand. So any grave offering chest or an elite chest or a golden scarab chest will drop this probably. So look out for this while you're farming that other piece that I mentioned. This one is also medium though, so it might be difficult to make it work, but hopefully you will be able to sort it out yourself. Let's move on to another one with resilient on it. This is an older piece, Sinful Glare. It's a mask, definitely in light, so we're in luck here. Some dexterity, resilient, refreshing, and invigorated. Not the best perks, but at least it has resilient and some refreshing. Where does this drop? This drops from Genesis, so definitely look out for that dungeon. Go do it and hopefully you get this well rather soon. Let's move on to some weapons. I'm gonna include this bow. This one is an old one. It's a Lazarus bow, which is still pretty good for a start. It has keen, enchanted, and vicious, And obviously this drops from the Lazarus dungeon in Reek Water. Which boss? It will drop from Scylla, so if you don't get it from Scylla, don't expect anything from the dungeon then. But definitely farm Scylla over and over again. Hopefully you get it. I wanted to include more bows. So the Herald's Signal Fire. This one has Dexterity, Chain Fire, Vicious and Keenly Empowered. So good war bow, I guess. Let's take a look where this drops. This will drop in Great Cleave all the way to the left. So there's the boss. Let's see what else it drops. A Strength Ring and a Constitution Ring. So there's a couple of drops that you will have to go through. It also drops a Corrupted set. So definitely worth farming this boss. You will get other named items. It's worth keeping as well if you ever want to switch build. So just make sure you store it in the storage as well. And then of course the PvP track bow. Bowman's Pride. This one comes with Vicious, Keenly Empowered and Penetrating Headshot. Headshots penetrate 22% of a player's armor. Pretty good. You will have to grind out the PvP track as you can see here on the right hand side. But if you get it, definitely pick it up. Hopefully your bow is already 590 expertise. Let's move on to some muskets. Infamy is one that I really wanted when I played musket. But this one comes with Keen, Vicious, Enchanted. Not best in slot, but a good start nonetheless. And this does drop from Genesis dungeon, so definitely go farm it. Hopefully you get this as well. Another blunderbuss or a musket. I hope I didn't say blunderbuss the previous one, but a musket, Dexterity, Chain Fire, Crippling Powder Burn, and Enchanted. Not based in slot, but it does have some damage perks and Crippling Powder Burn. Where does this drop? Let's take a look. So this also comes from Brimstone Sand. And you will have to farm an acid pool. Is there the acid pool? Well, if it is, good luck. Bring some acid resistance and go farm this boss. Also farm a blunderbuss. Shaking Flames, Enchanted, Mortal Empowerment. Pretty good. But other than that, I don't see any other named items. So it should be pretty easy to get if you have some luck. And then Iron Bark Blaster, another musket, which comes with Enchanted, Keenly Jagged, so 2 best in slot perks, and then it has Keen. So let's take a look where it drops. Let's just take the highest level mob. So it's a guaranteed. Oh, it's an Ebon Scale Reach. I think that is this the bear. Ebon Scale. So it's an Ebon Scale Reach and it comes from Gunshare. But yeah, hopefully you get this. The bear can be quite difficult if it is. Yeah, it definitely is the bear because it drops the Sonic Sword. So good luck with it. I would probably go and farm the lower one since it will drop in 590. I have been at that bear as well. This one is way easier to farm and you can farm it in Weaver's Fen. Definitely go farm this one. You will be able to get the musket and the Sonic Sword, which is one people really want. But most importantly, it also drops the Weaver's Shirt, so you can make some extra money with that. But let's move on to some rapiers. Final Respite, some Sundering Riposte. I think Sundering Riposte is probably a must on a rapier these days. But it has Vicious, Keen, and let's take a look where it drops. It drops from a lot of things. Oh, it's actually a Lazarus drop. So while farming your bow, you can also farm this rapier. So a good secondary if you need one. Lazarus is in Reek Water if you didn't know. And then the Revenge of the Scorned. This one comes with Sundering Repose, Keen, Vicious. So basically the same as the other one. Might as well farm Lazarus instead. It's way easier, I believe. Where does this drop? In Brimstone Sand again. So you can just go to the acid pool. I think that's acid pool. But only one name drop, so should be easy to get if you want to farm it. And then of course the PvP track rapier, Vicious, Keenly Empowered and Penetrating Backstab. Pretty good for a backstab weapon since you will get guaranteed empowered after the backstab and the extra damage, and Vicious will also include in that critical hit multiplier. Critical hit multiplier on Rapier is insane, 1.4, so having Vicious on it definitely worth it. Moving on to some spears. Threefold Storm Gore. Oh, that's a difficult name. Dexterity, Chain Lightning, Influting Skewer, which will reduce people's damage by almost 50%. This is 43% for 8 seconds. It's kinda insane, if you ask me, and you will gain power on top of that if you have a crit. So it's kinda nuts. Let's take a look at where this drops. You can already see it's a Brimstone Sand. It is in the elite area though, so you will have to bring a squad or a teammate to go farm it. So hopefully you get that. Kindred is the boss's name. I think it's one of those cats at the top. And you will also be able to farm a ring, the slash damage ring, which is really good. A lot of bruisers want this, but not too many name drops, only a couple, so you should be able to get it with some luck. And then of course the frontline point, the PvP one, will have to include this since it comes with the same as the Rapier, Vicious, Keenly Empowered, Penetrating Backstab. The critical hit multiplier for the spear is a little bit less, but it won't really make a difference, since you will still be able to do some damage. If you want to play mage, then you can look at this video right here, where I go over some of the best drops for mages.